well, Madam Speaker. But, Madam Speaker, it is a fact. It's a known fact, though, on a different point, that there are known UPP businessmen, supporters of this government, that has given paraphernalia, election T-shirts, and a lot of things in reward for contracts. But we leave that, Madam Speaker. The Honourable Member for St. John's Rural South spoke so glowingly in his presentation, excuse me, about all what they've done for sports, and how the member for St. John's City West and myself and Lester Bird went up to the airport, and how the member for St. John's City West attacked the Prime Minister, and with all kind of mistruths and half-truths and lies. Madam Speaker, let the truth really be told. That we did go up to the airport, and Lester Bird, a former athlete and a former outstanding athlete, went to meet and greet Brandon Christian. And we were accompanied by James Grayman and also Ayata Joseph. And the minister did not even want Ayata Joseph and James Grayman and Lester Bird to go out on the tarmac to meet them. So the member for St. John's City West had to tell him, listen, man, this is a former athlete, the former Prime Minister, and these are two athletes who have represented this country. And he boasts what this government does for athletes. James Grayman is in Cuba right now with no assistance from this government. Not one single penny. Ayata Joseph is down at Galley Bay. Has to be working in water sports because he can't get a single cent from the Ministry of Sports to go to Cuba. He can't get a scholarship. James Grayman did not perform well at the Olympic Games because the Cubans discontinued his coach. And he asked the Antigua government through the minister for funds to provide him with a coach. And that too fell on deaf ears. So don't come here and boast what you're doing so much for young people and for sports. They only care when the athletes get the medals and win the races. Then they go up to the airport and Papi show themselves. But to try and prepare the athletes and lay the groundwork and get them scholarships and give them the necessary tools and financial assistance, they don't care. Ayata Joseph is in Antigua right now and has been for the last 2 years. James Grayman had to go and get a scholarship and go to Cuba with no help from the government. Both of them happen to be my constituents, so I speak firsthand. James Grayman represented this country at the highest level at the Olympics. He won a bronze medal in the Pan American Games in triple jump and many other events. And his mother happens to be Joan Messiahs and the UPP scrutineer. A non-UPP supporter. I don't know why they're victimizing the young guy. Why? But it shows not even their own they're prepared to take care of. And sports should have no political color. None. Madam Speaker, after giving away the Royal Antiguan for school meals money, the UPP now is buying Food City. They're buying Food City for 15 million broad dollar notes for less than 2 acres of land, of reclaimed land, of built-up land. And when the previous Antigua Labour Party government bought Michael's Mount, 13.5 acres of land, prime commercial land, with concrete, reinforced concrete buildings, with a hotel sitting on top of it for 13.5 million. The Prime Minister marched. The Prime Minister cried foul. The Prime Minister up and down Michael's Mount. When we bought Hadid building, F.E. Hadid building, a 4-story reinforced concrete building in Redcliffe Street that takes up 3 blocks, it was corruption. But now Food City is in financial difficulty. 15 million broad dollar notes and no accountability. Not a drum is heard. Not a drum is heard. Where are the valuations? We bought Bryson's 2 acres of waterfront land for $4 million. 4 million EC dollars. Mr. Minister of Finance, the port falls under your, does it? Public Works.
20 years
But you're the Minister of Finance, and no money should be expended without you and without your approval. 4 acres, 2 acres, sorry, for 4 million EC, waterfront.
20 years credit.
20 years credit from Bryson's. And we turn around and we buy Food City for $15 million of the people's money. Reclaim land, built up land, that we sold them for not even 100,000 EC. That Henry Simon sold them for less than 100,000 EC dollars. But we bailed them out of bankruptcy. They owe RBTT, they owe ACB, they have to pay off. I'm not afraid, they're my friends, and my very dear friends. But the truth must be told. So that is corruption, Madam Speaker. Tell us also about the Chinese-generated deal, Mr. Prime Minister, which the Attorney General and the Minister of Finance knew nothing about. Tell us about that. Let us see the agreement. Lay it here before Parliament. The Attorney General, on the oath, said he knew nothing about. And tell us how much of the $40 per plate school meal really costs, and where's all the extra money gone? $40 per meal. That is corruption. And then the Honourable Prime Minister wants to speak about transparency, about accountability, about responsible behaviour in public interest. How come he could not come to grips, Madam Speaker, with Alan Stanford's transformation to eradicate poverty and depressed conditions in the Grays Farm and Green Bay area? So the Prime Minister went on a tirade of abuse and name-calling, totally unbecoming of a government leader. Calling the single largest investor in the country haughty, arrogant, obnoxious, nearly caused a run on a man's bank. I'm not leader. I'm not Prime Minister. That is unbecoming, Madam Speaker, of leader. Lester Bird would never do that. Never. But he was not man enough, Madam Speaker. The Prime Minister was not man enough to plunge the country into the darkness. Lest we forget the darkness of the unnecessary load-shedding fiasco that you plunged this country into just 3 months ago. 3 months ago! And you blamed it on the Hadids. You wrapped yourself in the national flag. You launched another tirade designed to evoke public hate, anger, and violence against the Hadid family, using words and cliches as slave driver and slave master and independence, when you had all the notice that the generators were coming off stream, and you still wrap yourself in the national flag, and your entire cabinet, save for 2 or 3, were against you. And not one of them got up in here to come to your defense. Madam Speaker, this UPP government, who could not wait to get its hands deep into the pockets of the people 4 years and 9 months ago, is even wasting our money to supervise skullduggery in the allocation of lands. And that is not my word, skullduggery. Embarrassed by her own guilt, Madam Speaker, Senator Joanne Messiah unfairly accuses the Chief Lands Officer, Mr. Darrell Matthew, an upright and honest civil servant, and the Permanent Secretary, of allocating lands clandestinely and without her knowledge and approval. But in a no-nonsense reply to the Minister, the Chief Lands Officer has made it clear that she's way off mark. His memo, dated, and I have it here, Madam Speaker, you can copy it and give you a copy, and all members, dated, Madam Speaker, November the 18th, 2008, and it states, with your permission, quote, any residential developments that are under preparation or being allocated have been done with your full knowledge. In fact, the most recent development in Piers West, the allocation letters were prepared by your secretariat and all the persons to whom the land